As we evolve, we have the ability to decide what impact we will have on the world around us, and to be mindful of what effect we are having on other people in our world also. I call this zeroing in on our V.O.Y.I.T, the value of your invested time. But more on this also in a little bit. If we were to ask ourselves what impact that we have on the world, is it value producing or is it value minimizing? That may be a harder question to answer. And even if we can answer it, to what degree is the answer true? And how do we measure that? Also, how do we know that those around us who are connected to us are seeing it in that way? Do we even care? Stay with me on this. Let's take a short trip into my vault, where we focus on, you know it, gold paradigms and diamond principles. There's a difference between people who live their lives on the value paradigm versus those who live their lives primarily on a consumption paradigm. What does that mean? A paradigm is simply a standard using a set of ideas for looking at the world. It's like using a special set of glasses as a way of looking at the world around. Here's my glasses. I think I dropped them. So people who live their lives on a consumption paradigm, they look at the world from the position of what they can use up. And they look for ways to spend what they have in the moment without much thought on building value from that place. Sometimes they look for ways to spend what others have for their own selfish benefit. Listen, we all have done that to some degree, but the shame is doing it without self-awareness. Now, please remember that term awareness for later. As a matter of fact, consumption-mindedness is rampant in today's world. And it's easy to get sucked into short-term, individualistic, me, consumption-minded thinking and behavior. I'm no savior, but I'm thinking and producing this video to possibly help. Let me suggest that we don't get upset at people who are consumption-minded and value minimizers in our lives. We can either teach them or move them out the way, figuratively speaking. That's how my mama raised me. They think I'm going crazy. Okay? I buckle down and hustle hard. Don't let nobody faze me. Let's dive into this and dig for diamonds. All of our time is investable time. The time you spend watching this right now is investable time, and I don't take your attention lightly. There are limits to how much and in what way and with whom we should invest our time, lest we spend and waste and go deeper down the consumption paradigm. Stay with me. A value-producing person is different than a consumption-minded person. The problem is that sometimes we waste good investable time on things that don't give us anything back. And that's like throwing away money. Now, some waste is expected and it's acceptable. But when waste is bleeding us dry, it's a problem that needs to be fixed. So how do we measure the quality of our invested time? First, we must be interested in that answer and invested. The fact that you listened this far into this VOD means you're interested in the answer. And we're going to mine for diamonds on this one. Remember a few moments ago, I mentioned a term called V.O.Y.I.T? What's your V.O.Y.I.T? It's the value of your invested time. Let's go. As we know, time is the most important resource we can have. No question about it. Let's not go down the lane that so many other videos have been done by recycling old tones, like about the 86,000 seconds we have in a day, how to fill the time dash between our first and our last days, and how the sands of time in the hourglass are representative of our present and future, and la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. There's something a little more targeted to say about the value of your invested time. Stay with me. Every second we are gifted on earth is a value-producing opportunity. Let me say that again. Every moment we are given on earth is a value-producing opportunity. Now listen, wasting some time is a given, but bleeding our time is a travesty. It's perfectly okay and even recommended to bleed some time on occasion, but doing it with the awareness that we are making a trade-off, that's the diamond principle. Trade-offs is the name of the game. But there's that word awareness again. What we can't afford to trade for is someone or something that keeps us from staying on course to maximize and move our value upward in the value paradigm. We must accept that most people won't see the value of our invested time in the same way that we see it. And that's a fact. And therefore, it is best to limit and minimize connections and interactions for where our value is not respected in a way that is accepted and value producing to us. Remember, don't be mad at these people. Just move them to the side, figuratively. Our self-awareness will save us immeasurable grief. To be fair, we should be personally aware of how we contribute to the life of those around us also, and what effect we have in their lives. There's a saying that we should not make someone a priority that makes us an option. It's a diamond principle, and I totally believe in it. On the other hand, we don't want to alienate people who can be aligned with our success. So we have to measure these things carefully. It's all sorted out through our self-awareness. Okay, now that we've danced around this idea of self-awareness being a part of the answer to this topic on the value of our invested time, let's look at the Ray Black Diamond Principle. It's called LA-VIE. I mentioned it earlier. Here's the combination for LA-VIE and how we get the most value out of the time we have. It's a 4-position lock. 6, 5, 7, 9. 4 positions. 6, 5, 7, 9. 6 turns of awareness. 5 turns of vision. 7 turns of intent. And 9 turns of effort. That's living with awareness, vision, intent, and effort. LA-VIE. LA-VIE. Living with awareness, vision, intent, and effort. Why this specific combination of energies? It's no mistake that these 4 are exclusive in a program to maximize the value of your invested time. Let's remember the question so we can understand this answer. The question was, how do we measure the quality of our invested time? Or how do we know that the things and people we invest our time in gives us the maximum value and return for that moment? This, my friend, is the answer. It's the living with awareness, vision, intent, and effort. LA-VIE, LA-VIE. It translates from French, meaning the life. Here in this moment, I'm giving you the life, not in the salvation sense, but in the living dynamically sense. LA-VIE, the life. The golden paradigm inherent in this insight and this combination is that time and value are not directly connected. Like a rock sitting in one place for thousands of years does not make it valuable. A person sitting in your face for 50 years does not make them valuable either. It depends. See, a person can spend time with you or on you, pause, or involved in an enterprise with you and create abundant value in a short time, whereas another person can spend 10, 20, 30, 40 years or on you, with you, involved in an enterprise with you, and create no value at all. This is why LA-VIE is so important. Let me know in the comments what you think about the following statements. Awareness without vision, intent, and effort will leave one purely philosophical. 2. Vision without awareness, intent, and effort makes for a magnificent dreamer. Intent without awareness, vision, and effort results in someone who wants to do good but doesn't have the forethought, effort, or follow-through to act on it. And 4. Effort without awareness, vision, and intent amounts to a misguided person who is like an untrained marksman, never hitting the mark. What do you think about those? Now, we have all been in one or more of these positions, either currently or in the past, and that's okay, because now we all have Ray Black's diamond principle of LA-VIE to apply in the life, right? These anecdotal truths are crude comparisons, but they should paint a picture that the components of LA-VIE captures the answer that tells us how we measure the quality of our invested time. When we live with awareness, vision, intent, and effort in the balance that fits each of our individual lives, we take command over how we spend our time and who we spend our time with, even if that means spending lots of time by ourselves. As a matter of fact, investing time in ourselves is the best possible use of our time because it maximizes the value of our invested time, the value of your invested time. All men are made through adversity. We are made as we push through our deficits and enter into our purpose. That's why I say, to each man, a journey. One of my sons has a name that means born of adversity. And although he was definitely born of adversity, and in a biological sense, every newborn child is, it did not make him a man just by being born. All men are made through adversity. All men will have adversity. All men are challenged to overcome our adversity, but we don't have to do it alone. TRU-Man Podcast. Let's go. I'm closing out here, but let me say that the recent pandemic allowed me alone time to incubate with my thoughts and to take a university level dive into my awareness, vision, intent, and effort, my LA-VIE. This actual podcast is the result of a 2-year personal journey to bring out the value that I had inside and externalize my value with the gift of time that I have. Each of us can do the same thing. This is Ray Black, your life coach of encouragement. And this has been another TRU-Man Podcast production. Hope you enjoyed this. It's a look at the value of your invested time. Remember the concept of LA-VIE, life, awareness, vision, intent, and effort. The combination of the 4 makes a strong man who is ready to face all of the adversities that life sends his way. TRU-Man Podcast. Let's go.